Hello Libra, welcome to your August forecast. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. Great to see you as always. A reminder, you can use this reading for sun, rising, and moon. Let's get straight into your channel messages for today. As I was meditating on your sign, I saw the image of a sunflower coming through. And symbolically, this is really powerful because it's connected to two great leadership cards in tarot. The Sun, which is in the major arcana, one of the best that you can get. It represents power, enlightenment, birthing, and creation. It also is a very charismatic card. And then, of course, Queen of Wands. It's featured prominently in both of those cards. Now, they're also very much like boss energy. So this is a month where, in order to get things done, you may have to step into that leadership role. Whether or not that's what you like to do, this is how things are really going to come into focus. And this could be, finding your voice in finance, in relationships, and possibly just speaking more what it is that you want, basically speaking it into existence on many levels. Let's go through the talking points and then we'll get into the cards here. So, as I mentioned, these are power cards, and one of the areas where you can focus on building that strength in your body, of course, is your solar plexus. So doing exercises that strengthen that place, like yoga, that's going to be advantageous. Focusing on your breathing as well, really making sure that you're increasing the strength of your diaphragm is going to be something that gives you more vitality and makes you feel stronger. Looking at posture as well, all of these little things really help reinforce your general energy, believe it or not. As I put in the second to last bullet, this is a time to birth or create, a time to lead the charge, and a month to make things happen. And the reason is people are looking at you for leadership ideas and maybe even sometimes a clue of what to do. The sunflower itself is heliotropic. It follows the light of the sun. And in this general sort of reading here, you are the sun. You're the sort of guiding light, the lighthouse. So even if you're not 100% sure, your wisdom, your talent, your skill, it's still going to be better than a lot of other people around you, and that's why you're poised for success this month, okay? And we can hear, speeding vehicles behind me. You may feel like you're trying to catch up, but believe it or not, I feel like this is the month where things start to move. It's a breakthrough month for you, Libra, and as long as you're willing to step up into that spotlight energy, it's your oyster. So let's go ahead and take a look at the cards and see what opportunities, what challenges might be coming through. And let's make this a great month, okay? It's about time. Okay, Libra, close your eyes. Let go of any sort of energy that you might be holding on to, any persistent thoughts, any projections. Just be open to receive the highest possible guidance. And to help facilitate that, let's bring in spirit guides, angels, and ascended masters. All right, let's see what's going on. Initially, wow, major change for the better because justice is upright, but this is going to be an exciting month. Let me reserve any other comments until I've pulled the rest of the cards. All right, you saw me nodding in approval. I'm very, very intrigued by what we see here. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. I always like to start off with catalyst energy first and foremost. You got two this month. We have the nectar, which sweetens what we see. It's showing that things are moving in the right direction. And then we have the fault line. And I think many of you were brought to a breaking point where maybe your patience was tried, maybe even your health came to a certain point where you just had to pay attention to it. Something shook you up a little bit. This can be interpreted as the like after the tower, because we see the evidence of it. So I'm not seeing the tower here, I'm seeing it in the rearview mirror for you. The question is, have you fully integrated and listened to the message that this was all about? So what caused the shakeup? What are you doing to sort of create stability in your life? And what are you going to do in the future to hopefully use this to inform you to make better decisions? That's all we see. The good news is the changes that have happened, even whatever might have been lost or, sort of like shaken about on the fault line, it's going to be all right. Nectar was the presenting energy. It was on top. So we see something sweetening, something going in a better trajectory, and you feeling like maybe you're finally on solid ground. So really powerful 1-2 with that. Necessary change bringing you into a better place. And this is almost like a Venn diagram with the two of these. And you're going to be somewhere in this sweet spot where you're wiser, you're not going to make that mistake again, and you're going to really appreciate all the blessings that this month and the ones that follow want to bring forth. I think it's going to be, for you, 2 or 3 months here. This is the beginning of a sort of seismic shift for you, especially since you've got the death card at the center. Now, this is change, and we also see this beautiful phoenix energy here. We can see a cycle of death and rebirth. It's a beautiful death card. We'll look at it more in depth in a second. We see relationship changes, emotional changes for some of you. We see this sort of enlightenment here with the Two of Swords reversed, balance coming forth, and this is you, Libra, and you're in a really good position because it's the crowning spot. And you're being guided here as we go through this with the angelic temperance. And the main thing here is vitality. You're going to get it back eventually, but there's a little bit of a lack of vitality, which I hopefully want to help you with. I feel like this could have exhausted some of you, and I'm going to try to help you find ways to kind of get your power back, get your energy back, okay? Let's get started with the central card, death and rebirth. I definitely embrace transformation when it comes through, especially when illustrated like this. We see everything that I'd want to see in a death card, because death is a portal. Yes, something ended, but you're so much stronger now. You've changed. We've got that little moth or butterfly, and you're coming back into your own, into your power. You're clearer now, okay? The main thing here is to focus on the future, not could have, would have, or should have energy that might be existing in the past here. And we do have that. I was looking for this card, the Five of Cups. It's a card of mourning. And once you can let go, you see just how big these two cups are with all the beautiful rainbow butterflies above it. This is going to be a good month. Significant shifts, major breakthroughs, letting go, emotional, I would say stabilizing energy as well, but for the first thing that has to come through is clarification. So clarification, stabilization, and then we get that breakthrough that helps you see what's possible. Beautiful energy. Major stuff with death. This can be the beginning of something like a new relationship, new job, new home. And of course, this can be the end of a cycle in your life, like graduation or retirement. And we can also read it at face value, where someone passes out of your life, but we also see something new and someone new coming in, potentially in the shape of the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups is not just a person in your life, potentially. It's also indicative of you, your heart. And what Spirit wants me to convey to you is this. It's not only okay, but also very powerful, very appropriate for you to be focusing more on what makes you happy, who makes you happy, and possibly even putting more energy into creative endeavors or relationships overall, because that's what this represents. Your intuitive and empathic abilities are heightened this month, and when you experience joy, you're at your most persuasive, your most productive, and your most powerful. So beautiful energy. And again, there could be Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio energy coming forth to help you with this, or again, to bring you love and joy. As we look at the karmic lesson from the deep past, it's a really powerfully, beautifully illustrated Two of Swords. And it shows that for many of you, you were asked to wake up. It was a wake-up call. Two of Swords in reverse is the opposite of what you would see here normally, which is blindfolds. And it can represent not seeing, not hearing, or just cognitively not paying attention. And I think this is definitely connected to the fault line. So if you don't pay attention, the universe will shake things up a little bit. And again, I'm not worried about it happening now. This was a wake-up call in the past. The universe is just kind of in this particular reading saying, make sure that you embrace it and don't release the anger, embrace the lesson, and let go of the teacher of whatever that was. Like we talk about pain as a teacher. We don't need it this month. You got enough going on, Libra. You've got better things to focus on. This is also encouraging you to pay attention to what's going on in your body, in the environment, and in opportunities around you. There's no more time to ignore stuff. Now is the time to act upon anything that requires your attention, anything that has gotten your attention. And this is going to help you stay in that position of power that I intuitively picked up on with the sunflower. All right, looking at recent past Nine of Wands. You are a survivor. You are really close to also completing something major in your life. Nine of Wands, just one step away from getting to the finish line. And this is a time to tune in. We have the beautiful solar disk right behind his head. And it's important now to really see it, feel it, believe it, and own it. One final note on the Nine of Wands before we move on, and that's around self-care. You can see the bandage around this person's forehead. This represents being a little bit worse for the wear from whatever this sort of fault line situation might have been in your life. And sometimes it's just the last thing to heal is the brain. The heart can sometimes get over something, but we still can hold on to something cognitively, anger, frustration, etc. And so this is a chance to just kind of let it go from your head space as well. But because we have Two of Swords and now the Nine of Wands, there's a lot of energy around eyes, ears, and even the brain here. So if you're feeling anything that's out of sorts, this is a perfect time to go to ear, nose, and throat specialists, to an ophthalmologist or optometrist, get things checked out. Don't ignore it. That's definitely what we got from the past, especially when it comes to health challenges. You really want to embrace it. We don't want another tower energy to come forth, okay? So just stay on top of that. Keep up with all of your checkups. You should be fine. Mostly just give yourself time to rest, recalibrate, etc. So it's a perfect time to put a little bit more meditation into your routine. Make sure that you're getting your allocated sleep per night, whatever's optimal for you, and that's going to help. And that is nicely connected to the Justice card in the crowning position. So I always love it when you show up in the spread right there in the crowning position, because this is a month for you to basically bring things into focus, into your auric field. This is doing the right thing, creating balance, speaking up, being yourself. You may also be putting increased sort of scrutiny or attention into legal or business matters, and you're going to do what's right for you and for others. And if somebody tries to push you in a direction that is not right for you or for others, you're going to give it a hard pass with the Death card at the center. You know what you want. You've been there. You've seen the way that story ends. You're not going back. This is also just a chance for you to figure out if there's something that's missing in your life. I think you can get it this month. You're going to choose to put your power, your energy, and your focus there and bring those skills in perfect balance. If you haven't had that balance prior to that this year, I know it's been tumultuous for many of you. I feel a sense of levity, lightness, focus, and hope, basically, as I'm looking at this spread. Okay, so let's keep going. So far, so good. Now, here's the opportunity for you. It's in the near future, and it's connected to this lower vitality. So I think this can help you. Where there's imbalance, where there's stagnation, where there's a feeling of discord, you're going to speak up. You're always good at communicating, but particularly this month, you have the capacity to get people to listen, to make a difference. King of Swords in reverse, the ultimate way of coming through and cutting through the nonsense and saying no or yes or focus on this. You're not going to mince words. By doing this, people are going to listen. They're going to decide where they stand. And really, you're not going to put up with nonsense this month, or you shouldn't have to. Let's put it that way. Some things to be mindful of with King of Swords. I like that for certain things in your life, you can just say what you need to say. It's frankness. But we don't want to be too blunt or too rude. And that's the one thing that sometimes this card can veer on the side of. So always when King or Queen of Swords is reversed, you should check in with others and say, is this a good time? See how they're feeling. See if they have any questions on anything that you've talked about. Then you can go in with the question, the thought, etc. But you can always add after that, does this make sense? How do you feel about that? You can check in. That empathy is really what the Queen of Cups wants to bring forth. Letting them know that you care, but you're also very clear and you're not to be sort of like tested on this matter. So that's a good leader. Putting the line in the sand, but also being compassionate and being considerate, okay? I feel like you can pull all of this together, especially with justice in the crowning position, okay? There also may be a contract that needs to be revised. If you don't like or understand something, raise your hand. If you need to edit something, do it. If it's unjust, if it's illegal, obviously push it back and say no. This is a chance to change cyclically something that you didn't like and achieve the perfect balance in your life that you deserve, okay? Let's look at you here as you're showing up. There is some emotional healing to be done. This is a card of grieving. And whether it's upright or reversed, that grieving or that release needs to happen. It's at a point now where you realize that maybe enough is enough. Maybe you're finally ready to move on. I like to reference this one scene from Love Actually, where there's so many characters. There is no main character per se, but it's the guy from The Walking Dead. Anyway, he has this crush on the Keira Knightley character. And after he proclaims his love on like New Year's Eve, he finally just says like, enough now. Because he knows it's not going anywhere. He kind of made a fool of himself with all the cards and all of that stuff. And then it's like, he just needed to get it out. So I feel like some of you need to find a way to channel, communicate, or release something. And it could be through talking to a friend, writing in your journal, speaking with a therapist. There needs to be some sort of release. You and you alone get to decide how, but I see a little bit of residual emotional stuff. It could be here, and we want to get it out of there, because once that happens, when we take away the whatever spilled opportunity, words, etc. has kind of gone on in the past, you just have the Two of Cups then. It migrates from that Five of Cups to the Two of Cups, which is love, partnership, opportunity, and new connections. Once you heal, I feel like opportunity's knocking. Let's see what's going on in the environment. Patience, but also divine guidance. So you have angelic assistance here in the form of a beautiful temperance card. And we have lots of solar discs behind all of the key power signals or power symbols, I should say, in this deck. Lots of rainbows too, so that shows bright days after, or a bright time after a challenge emotionally. Here's where the power of temperance is. One step at a time. You can make sure that you're testing the waters before jumping in. So don't do anything hastily. Literally, temperance is, not going to extremes. Also in temperance, really focusing on balancing out the emotions this month. If there's anything that hasn't felt right, take time to figure out how much of it is you, how much of it is the other person or the environment. You're going to sort it all out, take one step at a time, and nothing in extremes, basically, okay? And if you just got through something major, a shakeup in your life, it's also about taking your time before you jump in to the next relationship, the next job, the next living situation, etc. This is recalibrating time, okay? All right, hopes, fears, and opportunities. There could be a job. There could be a person who is putting something out there for you and saying, are you ready? Do you want this? You get to weigh it out and decide, do you want this? So this is you throughout every card this month. You're figuring out, how do I feel about this? So the Knight of Pentacles in reverse is basically saying there might be something that's missing, and they're articulating what that is. I need more time. I need more information. I need to basically see what else is out there. I need more research. Whatever's missing, usually it's time, energy, or money with Pentacles though. King of Swords is going to come through and back up this sort of energy and say, let's talk about it. And that might just be it, just getting some clarity. Help me understand. You could also be moving things in your own, let's say it's money, for instance. You might be deciding to invest in yourself, in your business, in your home, somehow putting this into a place where it feels right for you. Because it's night, it's going to move quickly. So make sure that you pump the brakes as needed. Whenever a night is reversed, it's saying don't get rushed or hurried about doing something or get rushed into something without all of that grounding energy that we talked about earlier, okay? You are steering the ship, you are behind the wheel, so hit the brakes if it doesn't make sense. And then in the outcome here, we have the vitality card. And by vitality, I just mean that when you wake up in the morning, some of you are just feeling the sense of, this again. So if there's anything in your life that makes you kind of sigh like I just did, whether it's talking to someone, dealing with someone at work, facing something big in your life, let's really get that remedied. Have the discussion or release the thing that is causing this sense of, here we go again, that sigh. This can also represent overthinking. Some of you already know what to do, and you're just holding the baton here, which is the Ace of Wands. So if you know it, if you feel it, if you want it, let's go for it. Let's hand off that baton. It's time to release. It's time to act. It's time to birth something new, okay? And take that idea to the next level. This is a spark that requires kind of kindling and attention and your action on it. So aces are only as good as the follow through. And this is a time where the universe really wants you to follow through, okay? Let's expand the forecast now and take a look at health, wealth, love, and destiny, beginning with the energy of health, which is your mind, body, and spirit. All right, let's look at the oracle card here. We have the honeybee. Already, I'm getting a lot of messages. First and foremost, this is a pollinator. So some of you might be going through seasonal allergies from flowers, and it's really important to keep a clean house. Get as much of the dust and pollen out of your living environment as possible. And if you need help, obviously go to a doctor to see if there's medicine that can help as well. We're looking at honey, which can also be connected to the throat. Some of you might be feeling a sore throat. There may be stuff going on here in the throat chakra. Obviously, again, ear, nose, and throat doctor can help with all of this. Honey itself may help with allergies, especially if you go to like a local farmer's market and get something from your area, like right around where you live. And in small amounts you consume it, the body can get used to it. Speak with a doctor or allergist before doing this, but I get a lot of stuff coming through with the bee. The other thing, as we're looking at this, is just to slow down, like a busy worker bee. I'm thinking about constantly buzzing about doing things, and exhaustion is what I pick up on when I see that. Even bees sleep for a few hours a night, so make sure that you're doing the same and not pushing yourself to all of those extremes, okay? Now let's take a look at just general messages with respect to health. Right at the center, we have a wake-up call. Like, this is awakening because it's reversed. This is something that needs to or needed to change, and it feels like you've already wrapped your head around that a little bit, but there may still be a little bit of dust that needs to settle when it comes to all of that. When it comes to major decisions with respect to your health, maybe it's surgery, maybe it's just anything in general, weigh your options. Get a couple opinions here. Justice isn't going with just one, at least 2 opinions for a major decision. And also talking to someone else just to make sure that your emotions aren't getting in the way, okay? I mentioned the head here, basically. This can be headaches, migraines, concentration issues, and sometimes just overthinking here with the 9 of Wands, particularly with the bandage. Hearing and seeing. So if there's anything going on with the eyes, with the ears, and with the brain, we really want to make sure that we're taking care of that. I see that there's a gentle release here going on. It could happen faster if you put a little bit more energy into focusing on this. Like I said, channeling it in one way or the other. Otherwise, it's everything in its own time here with temperance. And then I feel like it's also a month for you to really look at what you're putting into your body. This can show a deficit of protein or maybe too much. It's too much or too little. So take a look at just general portions and protein. That's what I'm getting here. All of this can kind of help with not the cognitive, but the sort of vitality energy that I was talking about with Ace of Wands in reversed. And I think that's everything for health. It's mostly manageable. By the way, kind of interesting that we got both like honey and nectar. The other thing here is try not to overdo it when it comes to sweets. That may also be something to focus on and be mindful of. Let's move to wealth. This is your resources, life purpose, and career. We have a card showing expansion is underway. We have a goddess here connected with expansiveness and the firmament itself, the goddess of the sky, of creation. And sometimes it's dark in the beginning. And when you think of when twilight falls, you start to see the stars pierce through the veil of twilight, and then eventually when it's dark, you can actually see that. So what I'm getting here with your resources, with whatever it is that you're building, there may be a little period here, we even see it here with the Death card, where you're waiting for something to commence. Remember what I said earlier, you are the light. We got it in the sort of symbol with the sunflower, and then I connected that to both Queen of Wands and the sun. But here we have the spark. The Ace of Wands is the first fire sort of symbol in that suit. So you may be the one kind of kindling the flame and getting it started. And so if you don't see it, create it. And if you want it to go a little further, breathe life and energy into it. The general direction is expansion. So it may start small, but it can go very, very big. These are all good things, but some of you needed to hear that it's okay if you're not immediately seeing progress or feedback or movement. It will follow. Keep working, keep staying connected to that vision, to that path, to that idea. Let's focus now on three major categories: those that are working, those seeking employment, and those that are either students or retirees. Looking at those that are working, there's some interesting movement here going on. Some of you may have just gotten promoted. Death is change. So we're going to look at it first as that. So you may be right on the heels of a major movement, and it takes a while to get your balance and your bearings. You may be asked to speak up a little bit more than you're used to. And generally speaking, with any new job or new turn of events, there can be this feeling of fatigue because it's just a lot to absorb. So give yourself time. Then I also see a different track for some of you. Some of you have made up your mind. You're like, I'm done. I think I've learned everything that I need to in this path. And you're trying to weigh your options. I don't think you need to make a decision right away. Take your time. That's what temperance is saying. Make sure that you emotionally are in a place where you're not feeling overly excited, overly angry, overly anything. You want to be very even on and even kiltered when it comes to making a decision, okay? So take your time, speak up. I think one thing that's important is not necessarily in the form of an ultimatum, but simply saying, this is something that's important. We've talked about it before. I'm not seeing progress. What can we do about that? So I think it's okay to highlight something if you don't see the necessary movement there. Ultimately, too, you might just be looking for some support, maybe getting some legal advice. Let's move on to those of you that are in a sort of entrepreneurial role. It's time to change things up. It feels like for some of you, there may be demand. People want something and it's not being sort of delivered. You may want to go down a different path for your business or your product offering, and now is the time to do that. Something's stagnating here. Something is sort of like not going in the direction that it needs to, and I think it's important to listen to that. Listen to and follow sort of the trends and what's changing right now, okay? Let me see if there's anything else generally for those that are working that we need to pay attention to. I think that's everything. I think change is either happened or is about to happen, and you're really deciding what to do with that change energy, okay? Definitely, I get that feeling of stagnation for some of you. So try to communicate and then see what else is out there if you're not seeing the movement that you need or that you want. For those that are job seeking, maybe you're looking at a completely different path because death is change. It can be the stagnation that you've experienced, but with that stagnation is an understanding that maybe it's time to try something completely different. You can also seek out advice, counsel. You might also be looking for better balance in your life. It may not have been at the last job. Some of you are still licking the wounds a little bit of a recent upset. So you might have just been laid off, or maybe even fired, or you quit, and now you're like, what do I do next? Give yourself a half step. That's really what temperance is saying before jumping into the next thing. Informed decision making is going to be really, really important and powerful in this moment in time. Ask for more when we're looking at compensation. Someone may be trying to sort of give you less than you're worth, so definitely speak up. Make sure that you are weighing out, why and how you're going to communicate this, but you have a good chance of accomplishing a good sort of negotiation if you think through this and don't get overly emotional, for sure. I want you, when looking at contracts, to get legal advice. Something could be missed. You need an expert to look at that. Same thing when it just comes to general finances. And protect your ideas. This is true of everybody, but sometimes when interviewing, you're given like an aptitude test or something of that nature. Make sure that they're not kind of picking at your brain, taking too much. Don't sign a non-disclosure before you're clear on it. All of that is coming through as I look at this. Now let's move on to students. Students, some of you have just graduated and this is just you figuring out what to do next. But for the rest of you, there could be this feeling of like being a little bit stuck wherever you're at. Before making a major decision, get advice. And I think that everything's going to work out, but there could just be fatigue, and you're very close, some of you, to completion. I think it's worth going that extra mile, but you might need to take a break and take it easy. And some of you just want to go into a career that is all about change, and this is just validating that. Moving on to retirees. It's especially clear when you are no longer working, whether you're younger or older, that, life and time don't stand still. And every decision that you make now needs to bring you closer to a sense of balance and purpose. And this is a time really to find balance in all parts of your life. I'm seeing here love and relationships. I think for some of you, recovery after possibly a health challenge or maybe even a divorce or something significant. And now it's about really focusing on you, personal development. You could be going back to school simply because you want to. You could be taking time to slow down and just take care of your own needs. And you're not letting people push you into doing things, again, that don't feel right. Opening up your mind, anything that is creative or even like intellectually stimulating, now's the time to really focus on that. All right, let's take a look now at love and relationships and see what's coming forth. As we look at your oracle card here, we have hope. Let's turn off the graphics so we can read this. Authentic reclamation. It's time to call back all the lost parts of yourself. So this is especially for those of you out there that may have just gone through a breakup. Maybe you lost someone in your life. It could be a parent, it could be a friend, it could be a child. Whenever these significant changes happen, it's just what we see here. Like, you don't fully replace the missing pieces, right? But you learn to rebuild, you learn to embrace that fault line, and it's not the end all be all. This is a reclamation period. And hope comes in unexpected times. You may one day just realize, I haven't thought about that old relationship or that loss. And in fact, I'm looking forward to this. And you find that there's a new you, and it's not defined by the lack of someone. It's not involved with nostalgic thought. It's just you. So I feel like many of you are finding moments where the old you or the you that you're trying to create has started to kind of come through loud and clear. So whether you're in a relationship, you're out of a relationship, there's something missing in your life, I see this sort of flicker, this moment this month where many of you are thinking, oh, that's what it was all about. I almost forgot about that part of myself. Really spend some time this month to cultivate this. Whatever brings hope to you, whatever brings joy and passion, because for some of you, that might be what's missing. You put a lot historically into others, and maybe it's been at the detriment or the expense of you. And now there is a rediscovery of that missing piece, and it's always been there all along. And just like we were talking about with the wealth card, sometimes it's darkest just before the light. So just same thing like right before sunrise. There's that moment and all of a sudden it just kind of breaks through. So I feel like hope is a very big part of your reading this month, Libra. Light and hope and also transformative energy. We keep getting these sort of like butterflies and rainbows, and there's a lot of beauty in this deck, but I think there's going to be a lot of beauty in the month ahead. Let's get specific now and look at the different types of relationships that I always like to focus on in a monthly reading. We're going to start off with those currently in a relationship, those seeking love, and those that are happily single. Let's start off with relationships. Okay, so this is a significant card to come through right at the center. Some of you are at a period right now where it's changing. So this doesn't have to be taken at face value. It can simply be that the way that you were before has shifted. The death card can actually ironically come through when an old version of yourself has died, and that may be because of the birth of something in your life, like a child. It can also be a moment in your life where one or both of you have experienced death in the environment. So maybe, again, a loss of a job, loss of a loved one, but you two can be there for each other. You're the King of Swords, then we have the Queen of Cups coming through. So we find this newfound balance and strength when you lean on one another in those moments. Here's some challenges in existing relationships. The Two of Swords, we see both parties feeling this. It can be this sort of lack of acknowledgement and validation. Do you see me? Do you appreciate me? Do you like this? So one of the ways to kind of alleviate that, neutralize it, is the King of Swords in reverse. Speak up, speak often, speak kindly, but also speak clearly and directly. All of that can help. Making more time for this. This is passion, love, and joy. So when the Ace of Wands is in reverse, the spark, it isn't getting as much attention as it used to be. You can't fake the connection, but you can rekindle it if it was there in the past. So this is just about maybe creating a date night, an excuse in a good way to spend time with one another. Patience is the most important tool and really the thing where many of you may be having difficulty in kind of finding it. It's not always easy when someone says, be patient with me, but not going to extremes, that's the key. You or your partner may need just a little bit more than you did before, and know when to say when, know when you might need external assistance for certain things, but this is about speaking to the lack, whatever it is that you need, whatever it is that you expect. And like I said, this could also be a child, because we have two parents here and I see a child. So there could be a birth coming in. Maybe even after a period where there wasn't, you were waiting to adopt, nothing happened. You were trying to conceive, nothing happened. There could have been a miscarriage. But then we see possibly even the same soul trying to come right back through, and it's a joyful moment, but almost one where you're in disbelief. You didn't expect it or you gave up on it. So something really powerful here. The other thing that I'm picking up on is some of you might be in a moment of reconciliation, because we have this fault line. This could have been a separation or just being sort of estranged. But after that sort of difficult period comes the sweet. And we see that a couple of times here. There's something sweet this month after a sour moment, after possibly being kind of torn apart a bit. And I see reconciliation for some of you. The reason that it's so easy to come back together and maybe difficult to stay apart is past life energy here with death as well. Some of you are ready to get out of a relationship, and with the Justice card in the upright position, with this Mourning card, and really most of them being okay here, it can be something that is as peaceful as it could possibly be. I'm not getting acrimony or feeling of disdain or anything of that nature. So just keep your cool, and I think that you're going to be in a better position than you think if you're ready for that. That's a nice segue to look at those that are seeking love this month. If you find yourself on a rebound, because the Death card and the fault line can represent that, give yourself time to find your footing. I think first and foremost, focus on health, stability, finances, all of that. Get your footing first and foremost. What we do see here coming forth is a water sign, Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. And interestingly enough, there may be a child in the mix. One or both of you may have children. There might be someone from a past marriage that, so it's like a blended family that I'm seeing here for some of you. It could also just be that some of you are very keen on starting a family. So that might be something that you want to talk to the partner about. let's see, because we have Libra presenting as justice, there could also just be another air sign coming through. So you have choices this month, and actually like 3 potential choices, 2 that are like in the same age bracket as you, 1 that's kind of clocking in a little bit younger. The most important thing that I can say for those that are seeking love is, because choices are presenting themselves, you either feel it or you don't. So whether this is, the first time that you've met, or you're looking at a picture of someone or whatever, if you're not feeling the physical attraction, it's not something for most people that is going to develop over time. You either have the chemistry or you don't. Honor that feeling and be fair with yourself and be fair with others. I think, again, there's something going on emotionally here where there's partnership that wants to present itself, but there's an emotional scar or journey that needs to be completed and healed first. And once that's done, this becomes a lot easier. So heal yourself. And if you feel the connection, go for it. And if you don't, pass. And you have options, so be decisive. That's really what justice is reminding you. What are you looking for? What is it that you really want? Okay? Don't push it. Don't be pushed into it. Moving on to those that are single and happy, I think it's one of the best times to be single and happy. You can get a lot done this month. Justice in the upright position is helping you make wise choices. If you need something, you can speak it into existence. Ask especially for anything related to money or finances. I think the other thing here is just to be patient with yourself. If you set your mind to do something this month, you're going to be able to get a lot of progress here. This is like 90% of the way to the finish line. So just keep working hard. And there may be someone around you that can help you get to that very last moment, because we have that missing 1 here. So 9 + 1 = 10. So it feels like you're going to be able to accomplish a major goal or sort of like dream this month, which is great. Moving on to destiny, we have the Sword of Light, and it says divine protection, cords cut, breakthrough energy. Amen to that. The divine sort of protection is so clearly illustrated here. Right in the environment, we have the angel of temperance here, and then we have the angel of death in the center. So a necessary and positive change that you don't have to rush through. That's the main thing here. And then cords being cut. Like it or not, something needs to fall away, and if you don't do it, the universe is going to create a tower moment. So it's better if you take initiative and speak up and make that decision on your own, for sure. But breakthrough, we saw hope coming through in relationships. We saw expansiveness coming through if there was a lack of progress in your resources. And then we have a power symbol here for health. The bee is also like something that represents that newfound vitality and being able to create sort of movement in your life as well. So I like everything that I see here. Once you get past whatever this is or was, and realize also a little bit of judgment here, because when you look at fault line, it's not just about the fault, it's also like blame. So don't blame yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Focus now on what you can and will do, not on what you should have done in the past, okay? Now let's look at sun, rising, and moon sign messages and see what else Spirit wants to convey. Sun, rising, and moon. For Libra's sun, we have the 6 of Swords. Many of you may be traveling. You may be moving from one situation to another, starting and stopping sort of energy, just like we saw at the center with the Death card. You may also be straddling 2 major changes or movements in your life at once. And it's important for you to stay balanced during this. Try not to overdo it. Reach out for help if you need to. But generally speaking, this is about moving on. And it is letting go as well. And it is for the betterment of you. So whatever change has happened, whatever development is going on, this is good. Keep leaning into it. Keep moving forward. It's an optimal time for travel if you haven't had a chance to do so. If you're required to do it for work, it may open up new opportunities. And if you're feeling stuck, this might be the answer. Get out, explore, see what's out there. This is a time to, again, move, lean into that change, and see where it takes you. That's for Libra Sun. Let's look at Libra Rising here. There could be good news coming in the form of resources. The Page of Pentacles can represent an offer on paper if you've been looking for a job. It can be an invitation. It can also be the sort of result of you speaking up and saying, hey, I need a little bit more. So we have the Knight of Pentacles making that request. We see the receipt of it in the page. It may not be everything you wanted because we're going down half a step there. I would prefer it to go up to like the Queen of Pentacles, but you can get a lot of what it is that you seek. The Page of Pentacles is also saying now is a great time to kind of roll up your sleeves and have a hands-on approach for anything that it is that you want to see movement on. And you may get inspired by listening or reading something, so make sure that you're putting a little bit of space in your schedule for education, for development, for learning, for reading, all of that, okay? Moving on to moon sign messages, you've got this, Libra. No matter how challenging things might be, the Strength card comes through to show your ability to get through this like a champion. I really love how the heart comes through front and center, and also how this particular Strength card is not feeling the need to kind of put their hands in the mouth of the lion. There is this ability to coexist peacefully with someone that's strong, for them to see your strength, for you to see theirs, and to find the middle ground. Taking care of your physical strength is also coming through right now. And here's an interesting thing. She's actually holding a snake too. So she's between two creatures that are sometimes feared, and she's like, I got this, I got this. I know what I want, I know who I am. And she's basically emanating, displaying, and sort of like just embodying the strength rather than having to show it. So when you feel it, other people can feel it too. So really work on that sense of believing in yourself, and that is going to take you the distance, okay? Let's go ahead now and take a look at one final question. Anything that you still might have in your mind that I haven't answered, now is the time to put that question out there, and we'll see what Spirit has to say. Okay, a little bit of patience here. So we have the Hanged Man in reverse. And this is basically saying spend one more moment wherever you are and doing whatever you need to do, and really make sure that you've learned every single lesson. This is what we were talking about with the fault line. I think this is really looking at whatever might have brought you to this moment in time. Decide, first and foremost, to love, forgive, and give yourself more credit than maybe you have before. And then just think, what do I really want to do next? Have I crossed every T, dotted every I? Have I looked at all the details? Do I understand everything? Then and only then move on. Don't rush through this moment in time, okay? As a yes or no, it's a not yet. But the Hanged Man is ultimately a card of empowerment. We see wisdom coming through here in the crown chakra, but it comes through patience. And sometimes it comes through a difficult situation. There are a lot of different ways to gain wisdom and experience, and sometimes that's what it is. And if you've just come through loss or change, the same thing here. Just really take a moment to think about it and to meditate on it, and to be very sort of intentional about the next step that you take. Okay? That's everything. I hope you enjoyed this reading. It was a magical one. It's always my honor to be here to channel and deliver all of these messages, so thank you so much. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. It helps the channel grow, and it helps me know you enjoyed this. You can also give me a follow on social media. It's always my full name, Nicholas Ashbaugh, on all major platforms. Remember, I do not offer private readings, and I'm never going to directly message you asking you for something. Those are always clear red flags. You can go to my website if you ever need a validation on official handles. They're all there as well. Finally, if you would like to show some support, you can do it through a super sticker, super chat, or a membership. All of these things help fund the channel, and they're going to allow me to rebuild all of my supplies and my studio when I get into my next apartment. So thank you in advance for that love and support. And thanks for being the best part of what I do here on YouTube. I wouldn't be here without your enthusiasm, your support, and your love. Right back at you. I appreciate you so much. Take care.